Renee Bergen. She is the Interim Director of Student Services at Kalamazoo Public Schools. Thank you.
Hi. At Kalamazoo Public Schools, our motto or tagline is every child, every opportunity, every time. That's how we see every child, regardless of status. Refugee or new to the area, immigrants, every child, every opportunity, every time. And we're very proud of that. We work really hard to make sure every one of our children have their needs met. We have over 54 native languages spoken in our district. Currently 967 English language learners, 74 refugee students, many of them new this year, so all of them at once. We've taken on and really worked hard with our bilingual department, and I see many of them here this evening, supporting those families with the support of the other agencies like Bethany and Samaritan. In Kalamazoo Public Schools, we serve over 13,000 children. Within that, a whole myriad of different races and ethnicities that we see every day. And again, seek to serve every child, meeting every child at their area of need. So we have special education services. We have, as stated earlier, bilingual support services. We work with the families to try to determine what the needs for that family are and support children and their families. We don't shut the door on the family at that point because we know they're new to the district and they're going to need support from all sides. So our bilingual department works really hard with the families. I'm usually loud enough. And then our children, we have 17 elementaries, 5 middle schools, 3 high schools, and within all of those have the ability to support all of our learners. So every day, our teachers undertake, every day our teachers seek to meet our children with the content areas, math, science, social studies, language arts. But we also work really hard to develop all of our children around caring cultures, around the concept of engaging every child and loving and learning with each other and embracing the differences and valuing each other and the differences that we all bring to the district. Currently, our teachers are engaged in culturally responsive educational training. So our teachers are seeking to learn more about ways to ensure that every child feels valued, that every family feels valued in Kalamazoo Public Schools. So when we talk about refugees or children and what different things do we do to help support them, we see children as children. We don't care where they came from. We accept unaccompanied minors. We accept children that are living with other families. We work with the agencies when they come on the doorstep. So whatever the need is, we seek to meet that need. First, we'll take care of the educational piece, but that social emotional piece is really important to us as well. So we seek to work with all of our agencies in the community, Griffin Place and CMH and other locations that can help us meet every need for our children. So it's hard to say what do we do specifically for refugees or children that are new to the country. We do have a bilingual support in 11 of the buildings in our district. But beyond that, we treat all of our children with love, compassion, and kindness. So we're hopeful that we get that message out to them and that they will in turn treat each other that way so that we can have a more cohesive Kalamazoo community.
Thank you. And now I will introduce somebody who's very familiar to all of us, Dr. Dan Cooney. And we're very honored to have him here. Please.
So I want to make my remarks around 3 areas. First of all, I'm so glad that Susan brought up the international dimension. The Second World War was horrendous, But we learned a lot of lessons from that, thanks be to God. One of the lessons that we learned is the importance of every single human being. And out of the Second World War, we came out with a code about how when people are driven out of their country or can't live where they're living now, and they move to another place, that country has a responsibility to respond to them. And the rights of refugees are ensconced in international law. And the second thing is that these people have rights. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights came out of the Second World War. And not only that, but I think not only do people have rights, they also have so much to contribute. And I think as we look at this issue of the refugees, we got to think about what a great gift we have. When I look around our community, and I realize the contributions that people from other countries, refugees, and people who have settled here from other countries have made to this community, in our hospitals, in our universities, in our schools, in our culture, and in just showing us how to live a fully human life, and showing us what kindness means, what family means, what caring for each other means. They have given us this gift, and we are so grateful for what you have given us. So I want to put that out there for the second area that I want to talk about is what kind of a community we are here. Last night, there was an underwear party. Now, it wasn't rated, it was okay. It was a different kind of an underwear party. It was an underwear party where people in this community came together to make sure that homeless people were warm for the winter. And you couldn't even get in the room. There were so many people there. Because this community has reached out to those who hurt. And here's one more opportunity. These people are coming here and they've been through a tsunami. Paul Clements and his wife today at noon just picked up a refugee family from Syria with 7 people in that family. And there's more on our way. And these people now are hurting and they need us. And just your presence here tonight makes me have no doubt how this community is going to respond. So that brings me to the third point, and that is our response is, how can we help? What can we do? Now, we already know some of the things we can do, and the sheriff hit on one of them, and that is put our distance away from ICE. Our community here, the sheriff has said what he's doing, but we here in the city, our public safety officers do not have anything to do with enforcing immigration laws. We made that clear. We're not doing that. That's your job. That's not our job. Adrian can tell you that a couple of years ago there was a problem in this community where people in the Hispanic community who are undocumented weren't calling the police. They were getting robbed. Their houses were getting broken into. But they were afraid to call the police because they thought if they call the police are going to come and they're going to turn us over to the immigration. We went to them and we made clear that's not going to happen. That's not our job, and we don't do that. And not only that, but we continue to meet with the Hispanic community, our public safety officers, to assure them you are members of our community. We care about you. We are here to protect you just like we are here to protect anybody else. So that's one thing we can do, is keep our distance from ICE. Second thing is we have to stand strong if the immigration people come in here and try to break up families. Now, how we're going to do that, we have to figure it out. But these are our people. And it makes no sense at all to come in here and break up families. And we're not going to let them do that. We're going to fight that. The other thing I want to say is with DACA, We have students up at our university who have done everything right. They came here as children. Most of them didn't even have a choice. They just came with their families. And they've done everything right. They've gone to school. They've kept out of trouble. President Obama has given them the right to stay here for a while until we can figure a decent immigration law and to work here. We have to protect our DACA students, and we're going to fight to do that. And we have to stand with them because they're our people. The University of California yesterday said, we are not going to cooperate with ICE regarding our DACA students. It makes no sense to drive these students who have done everything right out of our community. It's our turn now. We have to stand with these students. So, there are plenty of ways we can help. Paul's wife tonight, my wife was talking to Paul's wife tonight, and we were saying, okay, what can we do for these refugees? And my understanding is that at least for the first month, somebody has to go over and visit with them every single day. They're going to need transportation. They're going to need connections with health care. They're going to need all kinds of help. And it's not just this one family, it's the others that are here. So we have to stand with these people, and I know we will. These are our people. These are gifts to our community. They not only need our help, they will make their contributions to this community. And we have to enable them to do so. They want to be full members of this community. They have gifts to give, and we must help them to give their gifts. The final thing I want to say is this. I'm the grandson of immigrants. And my grandfather and my grandmother came over here with nothing but the shirts on their back. And they had a tough time of it. But they struggled and they survived. And with them, it was so that their children and their grandchildren could succeed. We have these people coming here, and now we got this chance to reach out to them. We welcome them. We are glad that they're here. And we're going to make sure that this community is a model for the country. Thank you.
Thank you for the most inspiring speech I heard in a long time. I would like to address our Syrian families in Arabic, because I'd like them to understand about the atmosphere they are in right now and what the message of this gathering is. So I will quickly, in 2 minutes, read in Arabic. مساء الخير، أرحب بكم باسم تحالف الإيمان للسلام والعدالة الذي يؤمن بكرامة وقيمة كل إنسان. الهدف من اجتماعنا اليوم هو كي نرحب بالعائلات التي هربت من بلادها التي مزقتها الحرب لتجد ملاذا آمنا ولتؤمن حياة كريمة ومستقبل أفضل لأولادها، ولكي نؤكد لكم التزامنا بالاحترام والمعونة والتعاون. رغم مأساة اللجوء بكل أنواعها، فإن تركيزنا اليوم هو على العائلات السورية التي لجأت إلى كلمزو والتي عانت من الحرب والدمار في سوريا، حيث بلغ عدد المهاجرين خارج سوريا لتاريخ اليوم ما يقرب 5 ملايين، بالإضافة إلى الهجرة الداخلية التي فاقت 7 ملايين، وهذا وفقا لإحصائيات مفوضية شؤون اللاجئين في الأمم المتحدة. إن أعضاء الهيئة الموجودين معنا اليوم قد شرحوا الجوانب المتعددة والمتعلقة بتوطين العائلات وكيفية مساعدتهم وإعطائهم الشعور بالأمان والاستقرار في بلدنا كلمزو، ويعالج الموضوع من نواحيه القانونية، التعليمية، الأمنية، الاجتماعية، ومن تجربة شخصية مرت بهجرة قسرية وقاسية. هناك مجال في نهاية البرنامج لكتابة الأسئلة على الكروت الموزعة، وبإمكانكم أن تكتبوها بالعربي. كما سوف نعمل على ترجمة فيلم مصور لهذه المناسبة مترجم، ونوزعه عليكم قريبا إن شاء الله. وشكرا على حضوركم. As we are gathering the index cards for the questions, I have a couple of announcements. you can call, you can raise your hand if you have an index card, if you have a question, and we will collect them. But as we speak, I'd like to make a few announcements. First of all, for any volunteer who would like to help the resettlement of the refugees, the group that gathers and meets every other Friday at Solid Ground with the leadership of Mark Couch, who is with us tonight. Any questions to him you could address, and we will have Mark come up here and answer your questions. So the needs are tremendous, and your help will be very much needed and very much appreciated. Well, the meeting is every other Friday. We met this last Friday, which means the coming Friday, not this Friday, but the following one, is the meeting at 3 o'clock at Solid Ground at the Western Michigan University campus. The other announcement I have is that on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, January 16, 2017, there is going to be a forum at Western Michigan University that there are going to be sessions on several topics, including immigration, Black Lives Matter, disarming Islamophobia, threats to LGBTQ civil rights, healthcare and reproductive rights, increasing economy inequality, climate change and environmental justice, supporting refugees and Kalamazoo and beyond, and the threats to public education and college affordability, media literacy 2017 and activism 101. These are sessions and panels. The event will take place from 10 to 3 at the Bernhardt Center, rooms 105 and 107. There are flyers on the table, material. Please take some, put it on your calendar, and you can attend any of those sessions. It's open to all the public. Thank you. And another announcement that's very important to us as the Interfaith Coalition for Peace and Justice, we hold a peace service every March to coincide with the commemoration of the Iraq War. This year is going to be our 15th service, and it's going to be held on March 19 at the First Presbyterian Church at 5 o'clock. You are all welcome to come. Our keynote speaker this year is a young student at Western Michigan University. She is studying to be a rabbi. She's a young lady of Chinese origin, born and raised in this country. May Yi. She's a senior piano performance major at Western Michigan University, and her passion is conflict resolution in the Middle East. She's going to be a very inspiring speaker as she strives to speak about justice for the Palestinian cause and finding a justice solution and for the Israeli people and the Palestinian people to live and coexist in peace. Please attend that. It's going to be March 19. First Presbyterian Church at 5 o'clock. And now we are open to take your questions. And Paul Clements, the founder of our Interfaith Coalition, and my dear friend will take over.
Thank you, Shadia. Well, I won't have to do much here because we've already received a number of questions, and I've passed them to, I think, probably the person among our speakers who may be in a position to address them. So I'm just going to go along our speakers and have to answer one question at a time. Can we start, Susan, at this end?
Sure. So I'm not perfectly sure that I understand my questions, but I will try.
Why don't you just read them, the question?
I will read the question. The first question I have that I'll read is, what can be said for the lack of enforcement for international law? Is there a solution that does not involve the U.S. policing the globe? I guess I would assume, because I spoke about international refugee law, that maybe there's an assumption here that the U.S. is a global leader in the implementation of international refugee law, and sadly that is not the case. In fact, the way we handle our asylum process, which tonight we focused on refugees who were screened and admitted outside the U.S., but asylum seekers would be, for example, someone who came on a student visa and wanted to stay because they feared returning to their country. Our asylum law practices are actually widely criticized and thought to be very poor when it comes to complying with the international law standards about who would be entitled to asylum in the agreements that we've signed on to. To the extent that the question might be more about U.S. foreign policy and our involvement in wars abroad, I actually think that really touches on an important theme that we haven't mentioned here, which is the role that our policing the globe has played in contributing to refugee crises, and particularly in the Middle East. So I think less with respect, I think our international law obligations with respect to refugees are truly the least we can do in some of these refugee crises that we've played such a role through our foreign policy in creating. But I also think it would take a deep academic panel to fully explore that. So, you know, enroll over at Western, and Don and his colleagues will have more to share with you. Should I read my second question, or we'll go down?
Go down.
Yeah.
I have a question here. Say, how does someone become a volunteer to help / visit refugees in our community? If you are willing to volunteer, you can volunteer as an individual. Oh, sure. You can become a volunteer as an individual, or you can become a group volunteer. 4 or 5 individuals, they can become a volunteer and help to support the family. And in the way to do that, it's to go to Samaritas.org, and there is a form you can fill it out and submit it for volunteers. And after doing the background check, and then you become approved, we can connect you to the family or individual to help. Thank you.
And I believe is Mark Couch here? Do you want to say anything about that question as well?
Hi everybody, I'm Mark. There's a group of us that have been meeting every other Friday at Solid Grounds, and we came together just to look into the possibility of what we could do to help with the families as they get resettled. And as Aram said, that can range from being a co-sponsor family that works directly with the refugee families when they arrive, picking them up at the airport, and then just helping them get settled in the community, taking them to the doctor's office, helping kids get enrolled in school, helping them find jobs, English as a second language, transportation. So there's just a variety of ways that you can get involved and help. And so we meet every other Friday at Solid Grounds. And so anybody that would like to come to one of our meetings and see how you can get involved and offer your services and help, please, you are welcome to come. So the next meeting is a week from this Friday. So we'll meet on Friday the 16th at 3 o'clock. Solid Grounds is on Western's campus. It's the house that's right across the street from the rec center, and it's about 100 yards down the hill from the Bernhardt Center. And so there's a sign. Now, the parking is limited. We only have 17 parking spaces, so the overflow parking, you can park in the K College Athletic lot.
You might want to mention that.
Actually, no, that's the Oakland. So Solid Grounds is on the same side of the street as the Bernhardt Center, so we're like 100 yards down the hill from the Bernhardt Center on the same side, but across from the rec center. It's a 2-story white house.
Facebook page and URL.
Okay, yeah, and on Facebook, you can just look up Solid Ground Student Ministries.
Sheriff Fuller?
My question, I'm kind of shocked by this one. Do you know anything about the status of or proceedings and efforts to make Kalamazoo County a sanctuary area? Why is somebody asking me this? So I know that's a move throughout our country. We've seen it. In fact, some of the things I was reading today from the International Association of Chiefs of Police, talking about what organizations or what cities have declared themselves basically a sanctuary city. Kalamazoo, right now, the Board of Commissioners have not started a conversation like that. We have understood that this is probably going to be a conversation that we will be having in this community because of the questions like this here tonight. But right now, there is no effort short of the welcoming community effort that they put forth last year as a first step towards this, from what I understand.
Thank you.
All right, the question that I have, the worst bullying and discrimination of refugee children occurs in public/private schools, according to the UN. How does the city/county protect those children and educate their classmates? So again, Kalamazoo Public Schools has a variety, of social emotional learning tools that we utilize. So we have Capturing Kids' Hearts, which is a program that focuses on helping children to feel like family in the classroom. We do some Love and Logic. We have Champs. We have different structures that teachers utilize in the classroom to teach social emotional learning and how to love and respect one another in the classroom. We also have buildings that focus on things like HICR, or honesty, respect, responsibility. I don't remember what the C is. Character. There's 4 different letters there, but they're all focused around the theme of respect and kindness and being a brother or sister to your classmates. So we start there, but we have a very strong approach on our student code of conduct. So things that are listed, whereas children may be harassed or bullied, if that becomes comes to the teacher's attention, they're addressed. They're addressed immediately, and we go over with our staff at the beginning of the school year that they don't allow those things to occur. We investigate every incident of bullying and harassment. We document all of that information, and we hold very tight to our code of conduct. So if students need to be dealt with some form of discipline, we take care to do that. We also do things like invite grip and place in to help us do some mediation so that kids learn how to coexist. They learn how to get through those unhappy moments, because children are children and we still want them to learn how to coexist in a community together. So we try to ensure that as the mediation has taken place, we continue to monitor that situation. Again, we have student leadership opportunities, all these things to try to grow our young people up into being loving and kind. I don't necessarily want to say tolerant. To me, tolerance means I'm putting up with you, right? But we want kids to love and to help each other along the way. Be responsible for and with one another. That's what we're trying to teach them. So lots of the structures we set up proactively, but then in reaction, we do things like, as I said earlier, grip and place and other mediation opportunities for children to make that situation whole again, and that they learn from those mistakes so that we can have a more cohesive community. Okay. So for ESL, Shadi has asked me to talk on ESL, English as a Second Language. We support our young people in the classroom at 11 of our different buildings in various ways. We have bilingual support where they may have their content is spoken in that language, or their support there along the way in the content courses, as well as pull-out and other supports that we provide, so that our students have an opportunity to feel comfortable with the content in the classroom, so that they're able to be successful.
So the question I have is, what outreach is being done to WMU student groups? They can be a great resource to families. And I think that's a great question. And I think we've made some beginnings on that. I know that I have 2 interns in my class, social work, graduate students. You can hear me? Wow, that's the first time anybody told me that. So, okay. I have two students in my class who are interning. One is interning with Samaritas, and the other is interning with, what's the other group that's? Bethany. We have two students who are doing internships with me who are here tonight, and we visited with Megan over there to see how we could help. And they've gone to a couple of meetings at Solid Ground. But we're just starting on that. We have a lot more to do. There's a lot of people power up there. There's a lot of goodwill. But we have to work hard to try to find a way to do that. What we've been asking is, how can we help? And that's what we're looking for, is people telling us how we can help. And I think what you're trying to do here for this the Day of Learning in Action, I see that there's a workshop here on supporting refugees in Kalamazoo and beyond with that teaching. And I think, Alan, that would be a great time that we could try to mobilize some students to move on that.
Why don't you give that information from here so that people know about that?
Shadi did announce it. Okay, so announce it again? Okay, good. So, you know, every year on Martin Luther King's birthday, we do like a week long of different activities on campus at Western. So this year, on January the 16th, we're organizing in effect a teach-in called Addressing Threats to Justice, the Climate, and Civil Rights, a Day of Learning and Action. And it's going to be from 10 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon at the Bernhardt Center in rooms 105 to 107. And there are sessions on a lot of the things we're talking about tonight. Immigration, citizenship, and the wall, disarming Islamophobia, and then a lot of different other things, including supporting refugees in Kalamazoo and beyond. So Alan Webb is organizing that, and it'd be great if we could fill the rooms just like we did tonight.
Community is completely invited.
From 10 o'clock to what?
Till 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I have one thing. There's also a student group that meets on Monday evenings. It's called Refugee Outreach Kalamazoo. So if you know of any Western students that want to get directly involved, they can come to either our meeting at Solid Grounds or Refugee Outreach Kalamazoo, and Nathan Browning is
Every Monday
here.
night?
What's that?
Every Monday night?
Is it, Nathan, is it every Monday
We're
night?
done for this semester, but we'll be meeting every Monday night next semester.
Okay, so you guys, no, they meet at the Bernhardt Center.
Okay, we need to know that. Okay, great. Thank
If
you.
there's anyone here from Bethany and from Samaritas, would you just stand up for a moment so people can acknowledge you? Bethany and Samaritas.
I was hoping that somebody would ask about the attempts or the plans or the endeavors or the volunteers for a program to teach adults English as a second language. And I have to give tribute, great tribute, to the Kalamazoo Islamic Center. They hold classes every Saturday morning for 4 hours for those families, adults and children. And we have with us here Afifa Taj, please stand up. Afifa has been very instrumental in, first of all, giving comfort to the refugees, helping them find sponsors, feeding them, taking them to doctors. I mean, she has been an angel, really. Now, there are many church congregations that have been sponsoring families, entire families, but there are also individuals. And I have a person here, Kathy Murphy, who she and her sister on their own just adopted a family that arrived last week. So if anybody wants to help, join Kathy's group. I'm going to join Kathy's group. Please, Kathy is here. She's here. Just walk to her afterwards. Give her your name, your information. Take her information. Yes, Anne.
There are at least 3 adult ESL programs happening right now.
One is on Monday, Wednesday at Calvary Bible Church, 9:30 to 11:30. Prince of Peace Lutheran Church at Portage on Tuesday and Thursdays from 9 to 12:30. KBS has their own program. You have to test in, and they have them both in the daytime and in the evening and at Maple Street. There's lots of ESL classes.
Thank you. And how can people volunteer to those classes? How can people volunteer to teach in those classes? Who will they contact?
They probably need to contact the person that heads each one of those ESL classes. But I can get the information for people. Is there going to be a follow-up email from all of the information that was collected when people signed in?
We haven't thought about it, but that's an idea. That's an idea, yes.
All of that?
Yes.
I think I could.
Yes.
And they have all that information gathered and the contact people.
Thank you. And the meeting on Friday at Solid Ground would also be a nice venue for people to connect and to volunteer.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Yeah, we still have more questions.
Okay. Oh,
First
all right.
round.
Thank you.
Would you want to do another round of answers? Sure.
Yeah, I have an interesting question. It made me think. I wanted to thank our vice mayor who cries out in the wilderness. I've been listening for prophetic voices lately, and I really appreciate yours. But this question made me think, and I do think it's worth taking a minute to answer it. The question is, I think the 12-step process Michigan, and that's really the entire United States, uses should be done with all citizens, even those who have been born here. Is this possible? Can this be expanded? I mean, on the one hand, right, we heard about our terrible murder rate. We know when we bring people here who weren't seeking to leave their homes but had to, it kind of forces us to hold a mirror up to ourselves, to see ourselves as they might see us. And I think that's embedded in this question and in your response to it. Refugee resettlement asks us to really see what in our society has failed. I mean, to give you an example, one of the first families resettled in Kalamazoo was resettled on the north side. And a lot of good-meaning, well-meaning people, mostly white people, said, oh, is that safe? Well, that's part of our community. Human beings live on the north side. Human beings struggle on the north side. Human beings thrive on the north side, and human beings suffer greatly on the north side. It's not, there's no part of this community that's not good enough for refugees, but refugees also need to be safe, just like all people need to be safe. And so, you know, when we think about doing the 12-step process on everyone, right, where would we send people, really? I mean, mass incarceration is not a good thing. The jail is full. Well, no, it's not. Yeah, there's room now. Not seeking to fill the jail is a better way to put that. You know, communities of color have really suffered under policies that have disinvested in education and higher education and healthcare and mental health care. All communities have suffered, and race divides us as an older generation, fails to see itself in the next generation, and I think refugee resettlement can call us to look more deeply at these questions, not to say, oh, well, never mind. It's better than where folks came from, and they'll be fine. Or, never mind, we'll focus on these new people who are magical and different. So I really want to invite people into an intersectionality and a solidarity as you think about your support for refugees, as we think about, you know, how to create a society that works for everyone, for refugees and for those who have been here for a long time not enjoying its full benefits.
Good idea. That's great.
As a follow-up to the question and Susan's answer, there are 35 countries who have a visa waiver with the United States, meaning citizens from those 35 countries around the world can just come into any port of entry in the United States and just walk in. No visas required. I think these people need to be vetted. These countries have to be put on that list, not our citizens in the United States. Because that's a horrendous subject. But really, just think about it. 35 countries have visa waivers. They just walk into our country. And they could be, as dangerous as could be.
I'm aware of this time. It's 5 minutes until 8 o'clock. We finish by 8 o'clock. So I know there's been a few more questions. I want to ask our panelists, if you received a question you'd still like to answer, could you just raise your hand and read the question and answer it? Yes.
I have one question. It asks, what is the current plan for helping refugees, especially adults, obtain English literacy skills? As my panel say, there is all these ESL classes, and also you can be a tutor and go to refugees' home and teach English, especially for women where they cannot go to ESL class because they have to stay at home and take care of the kids. So if you are willing to do that, you can contact my staff at Rita and Irfan to hook you up with those refugees. Thank you.
Other panelists? Shadia?
I think we conclude right now by thanking everybody for your support and your attendance. And I hope you will walk out tonight remembering this evening and not losing this feeling, this motivation that I hope we have inspired in you this evening to help settle and to help and to volunteer in any way that you can. Donations are accepted, donations of any kind. With the winter coming, we need winter coats, we need boots. I know there is a lot of organizations that help, but there are a lot of needs, especially at the school. So please, if you have anything to give, just contact or come to the Friday meeting or just contact any of us. And just go with this warm feeling and don't forget this evening. Thank you so much.